It's bad behavior. It's bad behavior.
I know you're both a pair of losers. All the Paul family suck.
Yeah, man, I feel for that. I'm hoping everybody family's good, and I'm hoping, you know, speedy recovery. That's all I gotta say, man. I gotta do better.
Can you imagine seeing that? Can you imagine being involved in that area? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine those being your friends? You can't even imagine, you know, the trauma, the mental trauma that would, how that would affect anybody. Even people passing the other way.
Usyk just completely lost it on Jake Paul after that shocking mess with Anthony Joshua's car crash. And man, you can hear the pure frustration in every word he speaks. Usyk's not falling for any of this fake innocent routine that Paul keeps trying to pull. The way Usyk sees it, Jake Paul won't stop meddling in Joshua's business, and now it's gone way past annoying promotion. Straight into dangerous territory that nobody should tolerate.
This is man, it's a bit bad behavior.
When Fury opens his mouth, you get pure wisdom while Jake Paul just sits there looking like a complete fool. Here's a guy who gets what it means to be human and take responsibility for your actions. Then you've got this other clown hiding behind all his loudmouth antics and cheap shots at people. Everything Fury says makes Jake Paul seem like some bratty little kid throwing tantrums, especially when Joshua's dealing with serious real-world problems that go way beyond anything happening in the ring.
They are not your enemies. They are your brothers and sisters under God. We all came from Adam and Eve. In the beginning,
Listen up, everyone, because this needs to be said. That's just toxic behavior right there. Jake Paul's running his mouth like someone who still has zero understanding about how serious this whole thing really is. He's cracking stupid jokes and acting all tough, while Anthony Joshua is literally recovering from getting hurt in a bad accident. Right there, you can see exactly what kind of person Jake Paul really is deep down. This isn't him being confident. This is straight up childish nonsense. Any real fighter knows there's a time to shut up and show respect. But Jake Paul proves once again he has absolutely no idea how to read situations or honor important moments. It's honestly pathetic.
Because I guess the point it proves about what I'm gonna say is like, humble yourself and shut the fuck up and stop trying to act so hard. Because what I'll say is, and what I say to all these tough guys in my head, and I guess now I'm saying it publicly, is, are you bulletproof? Then shut.
Now that's the difference between genuine champions and people just chasing internet fame for views. Look how he demonstrates real respect for Anthony Joshua and everyone else who got affected by this horrible tragedy. Zero ego trips, zero self-promotion, just pure class and dignity. After hearing something like this, Jake Paul's earlier stupid comments sound even more clueless and tone-deaf than before. Usyk actually understands what boxing brotherhood means, which is something Jake Paul has obviously never earned or bothered to respect.
Usyk said, "This is an unbelievable loss. Sinna at Latif are two incredible people who are not only part of AJ's team, but also friends. My sincere condolences to their families, loved ones, and everyone who knew them. Anthony Joshua, wishing you a speedy recovery. Stay strong, champ."
Johnny Nelson's dropping truth bombs that Jake Paul keeps running away from hearing. This stopped being about future fights or contract negotiations or social media beef a long time ago. People actually died in this situation, and Anthony Joshua came incredibly close to being another victim. Nelson's reminding everybody that boxing politics and drama mean absolutely nothing when you're talking about human lives being lost. After listening to this, Jake Paul's whole attitude feels dangerous and selfish, like he's still obsessed with getting attention while everyone else is processing grief and dealing with trauma.
Serious. This is a serious situation, so you've got to forget that now. This is somebody's son. These are somebody's son. This is somebody's life. These boys have lost their lives. So people need to just put the boxing thing to one side. And I understand, you know, that could have been AJ. AJ could have been sat on the other side. Yeah, so again, it could have been a Rocky Marciano scenario all over again, but it wasn't. But still, those two other lives were just as valuable as Anthony Joshua's, and so you've got to give it the same consideration, the same passion, the same understanding, the same patience, and just, you know, when you're talking career, you know what, it's nothing. It means nothing in comparison.
Joe Rogan's breaking down just how close this whole thing came to being a complete catastrophe. This wasn't some little fender bender or minor scare that you laugh about later. This was pure survival by incredible luck and nothing else. Anthony Joshua made it out alive when he very easily might not have made it home that night. Knowing that makes Jake Paul's jokes and tough guy act look even more disgusting and inappropriate. While one man barely escapes dying, this other guy is still flapping his gums without showing even a tiny bit of awareness.
I mean...
That's bonkers. Thank God he didn't have a seatbelt on. I never say that. Thank God he didn't have a fucking seatbelt on, because if he did...
There's no way.
He would be dead.
Yeah, it could have been really severe, or even worse than that. Jarell Miller admits that even old rivalries and past beef completely disappear when something this serious happens to someone. He's not even friends with Anthony Joshua, but he's still showing basic human empathy and respect for what happened. That says everything you need to know about character. When even guys who've had problems with Joshua understand how serious this is, Jake Paul's behavior becomes completely impossible to defend or justify. This situation has mentally affected real fighters who understand what could have been lost, while Jake Paul keeps acting like he's completely disconnected from reality and any sense of responsibility.
You don't know what other people are going through. And even though AJ, you know, we're not on the best terms, man, I feel for this brother, man. Because it could have been my family, could have been my friends. And, you know, I feel like, man, it's mentally, like, kind of draining looking at this stuff all day online. And like I said, I didn't really see nothing too graphic until this morning. Was like, now I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in my life, man. I've seen dead bodies before and all that. And, man, I don't even know how to even express myself.
Joe Rogan's bringing up concerns that most fans are definitely thinking about, but not many people want to say directly. Just because you survive an accident this bad doesn't mean you walk away without any lasting damage or problems. Anthony Joshua's physical condition is literally how he makes his living, and any hidden injuries or issues could completely change his entire future career. This is exactly why the whole situation needs to be treated with seriousness and given proper time to heal. While medical professionals try to figure out the long-term effects, Jake Paul's loud behavior feels completely out of touch with reality. This has nothing to do with acting tough online or building your social media brand. This is about a fighter's health and what happens to his future. Something Anthony Joshua has definitely earned the right to protect.
Who knows what happened to him when he survived, right? Like, did he hit his head? Did he hit his neck? Like, what is he okay? Like, is he 100%? Or is he always going to be a little fucked from that?
Johnny Nelson speaking from the experience of someone who really understands both boxing and what life is like outside the sport. He's reminding everyone that rivalries eventually end, but losing someone stays with you forever. Anthony Joshua means more than just being a fighter in this situation. He's somebody's son and somebody's brother who almost didn't make it home alive. Hearing Nelson say this puts Jake Paul's actions into perspective, and it's definitely not a good look. While other people are thinking about life and taking responsibility seriously, Jake Paul just keeps chasing attention and headlines. Nelson's words bring the whole story back down to earth and show exactly who really understands how heavy this moment is.
That's how valuable life is, and how things can change in a heartbeat. So when we talk about fights and we talk about beefs, and you know, these things are just nothing when it comes to real life and losing your life. So it was a sad thing to hear, a sad thing to see. God knows how it'll affect those that saw it mentally, emotionally. But you've got to think about these two men were somebody's child, someone's brother, and that's what you've got to think about, those people that have lost their lives.
The boxing world points out something a lot of people don't think about. Anthony Joshua is literally built to take punishment when he's inside the ring. But this kind of sudden trauma is totally different from anything he trains for. A fighter who absorbs heavy punches for a living still has human limits when it comes to unexpected impact and injuries. Getting better from something like this isn't just about getting up and smiling for cameras. It actually takes serious time and being careful about recovery. Understanding that reality makes Jake Paul's continued noise feel completely irresponsible and wrong. This reminds everyone that being strong doesn't make you bulletproof, and Anthony Joshua's toughness deserves respect instead of jokes and mockery.
Been through such a severe car accident there. Like, all right, he's lucky enough to still be alive, but fuck me, his body must be going through a lot right there. This is not a man who winces in pain easily, right? He gets punched for a living. And obviously, like, you're supposed to take people out of car accidents like that with great care because you don't want to...
Eddie Hearn keeps his focus on what actually needs attention right now, making sure Joshua has support systems, proper medical care, and family protection comes way before worrying about news headlines. Anthony Joshua's team creating privacy and protection shows real professionalism and genuine care during a really difficult time period. This is exactly how elite-level boxing handles things when situations get truly serious and dangerous. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's behavior feels completely out of place and nobody wants to hear from him. While important work happens behind closed doors, all the noise from outsiders just shows who actually belongs in boxing and who's still treating everything like some kind of internet game. John Fury's reaction comes straight from the heart and shows raw emotion, which makes sense coming from a fighting family that understands risk and danger better than most people. There's no competition or rivalry in his words, just pure relief that Anthony Joshua made it out alive. That kind of genuine response cuts through all the online garbage and fake drama. When respected people like Fury speak this way, it shows everyone how serious this moment truly is. Jake Paul's internet trolling looks smaller and more pathetic every time voices like this get heard. Real respect gets earned in moments exactly like these, and Anthony Joshua keeps receiving it from people who matter.
AJ, you're one lucky lad. God bless you, man. I'm glad you're alive again. Shocked me, that's terrible. Anyway, good luck everybody and try and enjoy the new year as much as you can and be safe.
Chris Eubank Jr. reacts with the understanding of someone who grew up in boxing culture where showing respect actually matters when things turn deadly serious. He gets that Anthony Joshua isn't just some news story or clickbait headline, but a real man who barely avoided a life-changing or life-ending outcome. This kind of reaction carries real weight because Eubank Jr. knows the risks that fighters live with every single day. His thoughtful response makes all the noise surrounding Jake Paul look stupid and completely out of place. While Eubank Jr. reflects on safety and reality, Jake Paul keeps chasing relevance with careless words that help nobody. That difference is getting clearer and more obvious every day. Anthony Joshua stays surrounded by fighters who actually value discipline and taking accountability for their actions. Jake Paul looks more removed from that world every time moments like this demand real maturity, and he completely fails to show any growth or awareness. The timeline gets broken down in a way that really hits you hard when you think about it. Anthony Joshua goes from performing on a global stage to literally fighting for his life in just a matter of moments. This isn't some movie script or promotional storyline someone made up. This is real life crashing down without warning. Hearing it explained like this makes Jake Paul's previous trash-talking sound embarrassing and completely out of touch with reality. Anthony Joshua took care of business inside the ring, then headed home and faced something far more serious than any opponent. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is still desperately clinging to shock value and controversy. This moment completely exposes how shallow and empty that whole approach really is. Real fighters deal with consequences that go way beyond cameras and contract negotiations. Anthony Joshua demonstrates real strength by surviving this ordeal and maintaining his dignity throughout everything. Jake Paul demonstrates how little he actually understands about the weight of what happened.
Just 2 weeks ago, this guy's in front of the whole world. Netflix, millions of dollars, breaks Jake Paul's jaw in 2 places. Decides to go back to Nigeria, almost dies. 2 of his closest friends pass away in the accident. You never know what days your last.
Johnny Nelson keeps repeating a message that obviously needs to be heard, because some people still refuse to listen or pay attention. Human life matters more than every rivalry and every argument that ever happened. Anthony Joshua came within seconds of complete tragedy, and other people weren't as lucky as he was. Nelson speaks for families and for fighters who actually understand the true cost of this sport and of life itself. When you put it against that background, Jake Paul's behavior looks completely hollow and tone-deaf to what's happening. There's absolutely no place for internet trolling when real grief is involved in the situation. Anthony Joshua continues getting met with compassion and support because he carries himself with genuine respect for others. Jake Paul keeps exposing the huge gap between seeking attention and having actual character.
Nigeria, it's just sad. It just makes you realize how valuable life is, and how things can change in a heartbeat. So when we talk about fights and we talk about beefs, and these things are just nothing when it comes to real life and losing your life. So it was a sad thing to hear, a sad thing to see. God knows how it'll affect those that saw it mentally, emotionally. But you've got to think about these two men who were somebody's child, someone's brother, and that's what you've got to think about, those people that have lost their lives.
The situation gets broken down with total clarity and brutal honesty that cuts right through everything else. There were questions about that fight because people understood the risks involved, and those concerns ended up being completely valid. Anthony Joshua stepped into that whole situation with professionalism and kept his composure throughout everything. Jake Paul walked away with damage and somehow turned it into a badge of honor instead of learning any lessons from what happened. That tells you absolutely everything you need to know about both men. Anthony Joshua traveled there, did his job professionally, and stayed respectful the entire time. Jake Paul chose provocation over reflection and growth. Now, after this accident, those earlier warnings feel even more important and relevant than before. Boxing demands responsibility and awareness from everyone involved. Anthony Joshua showed both qualities consistently. Jake Paul treated danger like content for his social media. That fundamental difference is exactly why the boxing world rallies behind Anthony Joshua and grows more critical of Jake Paul with each moment that passes.
I think it's some very interesting and germane points you make there in this moment, Raheem. That I think what I've noticed, that obviously there were a kind of panoply of opinions about him fighting Jake Paul to take it back a week and a half. I mean, I was critical of that fight being signed, first of all, because I worried about the dangers for Jake Paul. He got his jaw broken at the end of the day, and kind of used the scars as a flag in his new moon, delusionally optimistic, in his words, as he is about these things. So Anthony Joshua went to America a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, played the role which he needed to play, was very classy.
The story gets delivered carefully and responsibly, which is exactly how this whole situation should be handled by everyone. No wild speculation, no unnecessary drama, just confirmed information and genuine concern for Anthony Joshua and his family's well-being. That professional approach highlights just how serious this situation really is for everyone involved. While responsible voices focus on accuracy and showing empathy, Jake Paul continues getting associated with reckless commentary that helps nobody. Anthony Joshua's accident isn't fuel for jokes or building internet clout. It's a harsh reminder of how fragile life can be for anyone. The boxing community responds with unity and respect for what happened. Jake Paul once again finds himself on the completely wrong side of an important moment, proving that getting attention without showing accountability has no place when reality hits people this hard.
Joshua's SUV struck the stationary truck. So I just want to give you guys the breaking news. Unfortunately, Anthony Joshua was involved in a car accident in Nigeria. Prayers to Anthony J. Joshua.
Now that everything's settling down, this whole situation leaves the boxing world with serious questions that go way beyond wins and losses in the ring. Anthony Joshua survived something that could have ended absolutely everything for him, and watching how real fighters responded shows exactly where genuine respect lives. Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson Fury, Eddie Hearn, Johnny Nelson, and so many others reacted with basic humanity and maturity, while Jake Paul's name keeps coming up in uncomfortable ways that expose how little responsibility he takes when moments turn deadly serious. This was never about promotional campaigns or online drama. It was about life, death, and somehow surviving when the odds were against you. Anthony Joshua handled every part of this terrible situation with dignity, from dealing with the accident aftermath to staying quiet while others spoke recklessly and carelessly. That silence carries more power than any trash talk ever could. Moving forward, fans will be watching closely to see if Jake Paul finally learns when to step back and shut up, or keeps chasing attention at exactly the wrong times. One thing is absolutely clear: the boxing community stands completely behind Anthony Joshua, and this moment has only made that bond stronger than ever. If you respect fighters who conduct themselves with class and real accountability, make sure you support that kind of energy. Share your thoughts below, pass this video along, and subscribe for more honest boxing discussion that cuts through all the noise and tells the truth.